Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily if you're new here. Today's video is going to be my October wrap up and my tentative November TBR. I have not done a TBR video in quite a while. I've just been so busy. I haven't really stuck to a TBR, so I haven't wanted to put one out per se. I am currently participating in NaNoWriMo in the month of November, so this is very tentative as I don't know how much reading I'm going to be able to get done in the month of November. I have been reading here and there over the last 2 weeks as we are nearly halfway through November already, which is just crazy to me, but I did start NaNoWriMo. I have been writing nearly every day, sticking to my goal. I am 25,000 words into my novel now, which is very exciting. It's a very exciting time. I am just very busy, so I do have a few books that I would love to read this month, but I am not putting that pressure on myself to read the books that I am putting out for today's video. So I'm going to go through the 7 books that I read in the month of October. I pretty much read majority of audiobooks. I did get kind of slumpy in October from September as I did the 30 manga in 30 days video on top of reading as well. So I read a lot in September. So October I was just chilling out, watching TV, which I never normally do, finding new shows. Like, I wasn't putting reading as a priority as I knew that November was going to be another busy month for me too, so I just kind of just chilled out, didn't have to read, wasn't pressuring myself as a booktuber. And on Bookstagram I like to post reviews, and sometimes it does get overwhelming to have that sort of pressure on yourself having to read a certain amount of books per month. But I still read 7 books in October, which was still a great reading month for me. So in total I read 5 audiobooks in October. I read 1 physical book and 1 ebook. So I'm going to just go in order of what books I read in October. I did read majority horror, thrillers, and I really enjoyed mostly all my reads, so that was a bonus as well. Okay, so the first book that I read in the month of October was One of Us Is Dead by Jennifer Rose. I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It is a rich people drama thriller, even though, to be honest, it wasn't very thrilling. The ending was like a big plot twist that was thrilling, but I wasn't intrigued by the thriller aspect to it because one of them do end up dead, but I was personally so enthralled in the story with the way that these characters were portrayed. There was multiple POVs. Every single character had a POV that was different voice in narration on the audiobook, so it made it so much more enjoyable. I loved it. I thought it was so juicy, so dramatized. It literally felt like I was listening to Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like that sort of rich people vibe, but with like who did it, and like all the characters low-key hate each other. It was just really insane. It was really insane, and the plot twist at the end I actually really enjoyed. I have read another Jennifer Rose book before, which was You Shouldn't Have Come Here. I did not like that book. I did not like the plot twist, but this book, because it was so dramatized and that was what I was enjoying about this book, made it so much more enjoyable, and I liked the plot twist that occurred at the end. So that is why I got a 4 stars, purely for enjoyment. I really did enjoy my time reading One of Us Is Dead. The next book that I read was Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayra. I think that's how you pronounce the author's name. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you can see me looking down, I'm just looking at my iPad because obviously it was a little bit ago. I don't remember everything, but this book kind of flopped for me, I'm not going to lie. I initially thought this was going to be a 5-star prediction. I was really excited to read it. The premise was so interesting to me. It is a TikTok book. All the hype occurred from TikTok, and this author was basically sharing a lot of scenes from the book, and people wanted it to become a full-length novel because I think they're like short little snippets of stories. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I heard. So then she turned it into a novel. It got released by Red Tower, obviously, but I don't know. So it is an enemies to lovers fantasy romance series, new adult. Let's just say new adult. It was not new adult. It read YA to me. There was no romance. Enemies to lovers, there was not even a kiss that occurred in this book at all. Like, I really just I thought it was going to be like a slow burn. It was just going to get really angsty, build up into this like boom, but nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. It read YA, it read like a low stakes fantasy, like cozy fantasy, cottagecore, fairy tale-esque. There was a frog, a toad that wore a crown. Like, it just gave me the fairy tale vibes. Just the atmosphere, like, yes, the atmosphere was very atmospheric. I really enjoyed that part of the story where the book is set in. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but I found the villain very unlikable, kind of boring, honestly. Our main character who we follow. Okay, so because obviously I listened to a audiobook, I just remembered that I had the physical book. So it's assistant wanted. Notorious high-ranking villain seeks loyal, level-headed assistant for unspecified office duties, supporting staff for random mayhem and terror and other dark things in general. Direction a must. Excellent benefits. That's just what the little attention wanted sign says, obviously promoting a job. This was not even like promoted. Like, it looks like this would have been like seen around town or something. I don't know, but basically Evie Sage, and the villain calls her Sage. So he calls her by her last name. It sounds like a cadet name, Sage. I don't know. I just, yeah, it kind of just fell flat for me. And Evie was kind of annoying, her character. I wish there was more character development and growth between both characters, because we were kind of just stuck in one specific place. Like, there was no growing together. They were supposed to have a romance. There's really not a romance per se. It's not romantic, in my opinion. I did not find it romantic. It kind of just, like I said, it fell flat for me. So that's how I felt about this book. I really wish I loved it, and that Sam and Eliza basically felt the same way about this book. I think Sam hasn't finished it yet. I know for a fact that Eliza felt the exact same way. She was kind of disappointed in it. Just overly too slow burn. And this is supposed to be a adult fantasy romance. There was no romance, mismarketed, unless the second book, it just takes a complete twist and we get a lot of spicy scenes, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Not until maybe halfway through the book. It's going to be another slow burn. I just have that gut feeling. The next book that I read was Nothing But Blackened Teeth. This was by Cassandra Core. I actually gave this one a 4 stars. I personally really enjoyed this one. It was a shorter story. I listened to it by audio as well. I actually listened to the whole audio book on 2 times speed, traveling from my house to the coast. So I listened to it on my drive down and I actually really enjoyed it. It gave me very unsettling, creepy vibes. So basically we follow a group of friends, they're not even friends, none of them like each other, and one of them is two of them are getting married, and they're getting married in Japan. So one of the friends book all of them flights, travel to Japan, and they end up staying in this haunted mansion. And all of them are kind of like paranormal investigators. They love going to spooky locations and checking out haunted locations, etc. So they wanted to book this place in particular because it had a lot of history behind it. So they are also like the couple who was going to get married also wanted to get married in that house. So they all decided to just go over there and stay. So they end up finding out that there was a yokai that lived amongst the mansion. So the yokai they end up coming into contact with, in particular the yokai, is called Ohagoro Batari, and the Ohagoro Batari is translated from Japanese into blackened teeth. So that is where the title comes from. So this particular yokai has never physically injured or harmed anyone before. They just like to play tricks on the people that they are obviously tricking and playing with and toying with, and they're just not known to kill anyone. So that's basically what it insinuates in this story. We follow the group of friends and their own troubles end up causing havoc upon them all. So that's where that little short story went. I personally really enjoyed it. One of the friends ended up dead, but The yokai, it was very descriptive. The writing of Cassandra Clare's writing style was very poetic, the way that she described certain phrases in this book, and just like the atmospheric vibes was very atmospheric, and I was indeed creeped out by the descriptions that were written in this book. So I don't know why it is so poorly rated on Goodreads. I personally really enjoyed my time reading it, so that is why it got a 4 stars from me. The next book that I read was The Last House on Needle Street by Catriona Ward. I ended up giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm still in shock about the ending of that book. I genuinely still don't really know how we went from the beginning to the end. I got mind fucked, honestly. Like, it was so confusing, but in the best way possible. Like, you really did not know what was going on in it anyway. Like, it felt like a fever dream to me. I was so confused through the whole entire plot of this book, but I couldn't stop reading it. This was also another audiobook that I listened to, and honestly, it was so well done. If just like, I don't know, Catriona Ward and Mona Award, they are two authors who can really fuck with your head in the best way possible. Like, it was a fever dream. And the psychosis and just like the whole neurological side of it, I was very impressed by. I thought it was so interesting, and I cannot recommend this book enough. If you want to go into something and you really have no idea what is going on until the very end, I highly recommend The Last House on Needle Street, because that is how I felt. I did not really know what was happening until the very end of this book, but it was a very, very good read. It was so captivating, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm really glad that I finally got to The Last House on Needle Street. I definitely will be continuing on with Catriona Ward's backlist per se. I also have Sundial that I need to read that is on my Libby TBR. The next book that I read was The Exorcist House by Nick Roberts, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This was an ebook I read on my Kindle. We follow a family who move into this abandoned farmhouse, and the farmhouse has had a lot of issues over the years with possession. And so this book, basically we follow the family, and they start to notice things that are going on in the house. And this isn't like your typical possession story where like a demon will possess somebody and then obviously they start to show the symptoms of possession. This is about a well that is within the home, and it is a portal to hell. So the demon that is being portrayed in this story comes up from the well is as a portal to access the home. And the elemental powers that it has is very unique. I haven't really read much of anything like this sort of possession story where it doesn't just stay within the home, it follows you, but it doesn't just follow one person, it follows multiple people, and it makes them go and see things that aren't really there, or like full on high hallucinogenic symptoms that they don't actually have. But it was very creepy. I did really enjoy my time reading it. It was a very quick read as well. It was about 250-page book. But yes, that is a book that I enjoyed my time reading. The ending was an unexplainable ending. So basically we don't really get to say goodbye to the devil, to the demon, because it never really went away. So the plot twist at the end was quite interesting how it happened. So if you're interested in reading it, I do recommend it. It was a good read. The final book that I read in the month of October was Die For You by Lauren Jackson. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I do have the physical book right here. It was a very quick read. So Lauren Jackson is an Australian romance author, and this was her first paranormal romance. This book is literally Twilight meets the Vampire Diaries meets Vampire Academy. Make it cringy, make it fun, make it a fast-paced read. That's how I felt reading this book. I literally saw Rhea as like Elena Gilbert vibes. She wasn't as badass as Rose from the Vampire Academy, and like Elena crossed Bella. That's who I saw as Rhea, literally. And then the male love interest, Hunter, is a vampire who has been turned for 5 years, and he also gives me Edward vibes. He doesn't give me Stefan or Damon vibes. Like, he's not badass enough for that. He's kind of cringy. That's just how I felt. It is your typical vampire romance book. Yes. So I did enjoy the aspect that it was set in Australia. That is what I liked most about this. It was definitely atmospheric. The town that we are in, it is called a Redthorn novel. So this town, Redthorn, is where they are based in. It is like an eerie, overcast town where the vampires love to live, you know, and take people's blood and toy with them. So that is what happened in this book, and that is all you need to know, because yeah, vampires, just lots of vampires, sexy vampires. So that was that book. And then I might as well mention, I ended up reading about 45% of It by Stephen King. I have been hybrid reading this book. I read the first 200 pages physically, and then I started listening to the audio. Since I had a credit on Audible, I did buy it with my credit, so I basically got it for free. It's fine. But I've been listening to that still. I was initially planning on doing a reading vlog for it, but I am actually just going to be doing a full spoiler review once I do finish reading it. I just love it. I'm savoring every moment. I am really enjoying it. I am sure it's going to be a 5-star prediction for me. I am just really enjoying it. And it is my first Stephen King book, and it definitely won't be my last, because I am having the best time reading it. It's a very long book though, so that's why I'm just kind of taking little steps. Reading some week and not reading any the next week. Like, I'm still going. I'm about 60% through now, halfway through November. So hopefully by the end of November I will have it completed. I just like listening to it when I'm at work. I've been listening to it on my way to and from work and also at work. So it has been a great book for that. But yes, that is my October wrap up. I'm quickly going to go over some of the books that I would love to read in November. So the first book that I will talk about is what I'm actually reading currently. So what I'm currently reading is The Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels. This is by India Holton. I am 72 pages in at the moment, which is up to chapter 7. I'm really enjoying this. This is a historical, fantastical romance book. It's not straight away romance. Like, I think we kind of grew up to that, but basically we follow the Mysterious Society of Lady Scoundrels, and the Mysterious Society are pirates, so women who are pirates, and they are part of this society, and they actually do have mage abilities, so they have incantations to move their houses around. So that's how they get around. They actually incantate their houses to ship and sail, so their houses are their ships pretty much. It's very interesting concept, but so far I'm really liking the dialogue. I'm really enjoying the characters, and I cannot wait to read more of this book. The next book on my radar is Bunny by S.E. Tolson. I have still been meaning to read this book. I keep saying I'm going to every month, but I don't know why I haven't. I don't know why. I am genuinely so excited about this book. It is a supernatural suspense thriller. That's all you need to know, because I haven't talked about this before. I really would love to read this month. It seems like it's going to be a very quick read for me, because I know that I'll get sucked into the story. So I'm hoping I'll be able to read this in November. The next book is Rouge by Mona Award. I did start reading this in October. I only got 60 pages in. I just want a day where I can just dedicate my whole entire day to reading Rouge. Hopefully on Sunday I can do that. I don't have anything planned for the next 2 weekends. I really just want to completely immerse myself in the fever dream. I didn't really like taking breaks from Bunny, so I just want to read it in one sitting. That is the book that Mona Awards books, I feel like I'll just need to read in one sitting. I will not want to put it down, and the first 60 pages, not too much has happened, so we will see how we go. Obviously, Rouge is another Mona Award spectacular book. It is supposed to be another fever dream. There is cult vibes in this book. We follow the beauty industry and how it can affect some people. The next book that is on my TBR, tentative TBR for this month, is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I have had this on my TBR for so long, and I am finally caving to read it. I am currently writing a book, and my book does have folklore in it as well, so I am very intrigued to read this with the encyclopedia aspect of it. I have been wanting to read more about the folklore encyclopedia, as I have been writing journal entries in my story particularly about the folklore encyclopedia of fairies that my main character witnesses in the town that I'm writing. So I want to just see what it's all about. I want to continue immersing myself in the fairy world, so that is what I plan on doing. It is meant to be like a cozy fantasy about Emily, who has an encyclopedia of the fairy folklore, and obviously I think there is a romance that's involved in this. I don't know too much about it. I just wanted to immerse myself in a whimsical world, which I know for a fact I will get, and this cover is so gorgeous. I absolutely love it. Tori from Tori Between Pages has recently started reading this. This is kind of why I've been gravitated to pick it up, because I saw that she posted on Instagram that she was reading it and that she was really enjoying it. And then the final book that's on my TBR for the month of November is The Rise of the Witches by M.L. Gill, and Mel is an indie Australian author who has released her debut novel, which was The Rise of the Witches. I did receive the art copy, but I just did not have time to read it, so I'm hoping to read that this month. And I know it is a dark urban fantasy series. Couldn't tell you much else, but that is the conclusion of this video. That is all the books I'd love to read in the month of November, as well as all the books I read in October. Please let me know down below in the comments what was your favourite read in October. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!